Just like pretty much any other gig app at this point, Uber Eats drivers are quitting. But there are a few very specific reasons that people are quitting Uber Eats, and they might not be quitting, DoorDash, Grubhub, Instacart, but just Uber Eats specifically. A lot of drivers are angry, they don't want to do it anymore, they're switching to other platforms, starting new jobs, but let's get into it. For starters, a common problem that a lot of people are experiencing on other platforms, but for me and a lot of other people on Uber Eats specifically, is the low order pay. I made a video like 2 years ago talking about the $2 orders that keep circulating, and some people I guess were taking them because I wasn't seeing them again and they weren't like going up on some promo. But at this point, a lot of people are just tired of seeing the $2 orders, the $4 orders going so many miles. Uber seems to be kind of hit or miss depending on your market. Especially where I am, the orders are completely hit or miss. There's no real in between with the orders. It's either like really low, like $2-3, or it'll be a really high order that I'll get every once in a while that another driver probably canceled, and then Uber's just sending it for like a ton of money. On occasion there'll be some orders in between, but comparatively to other apps, I find that Uber Eats has pretty much the lowest pay. And of course every market is different, so in some markets, people are making all their money on Uber, but I've seen a lot of people talk about the low order pay, and so I think that's one of the reasons that people are quitting. Now, a huge problem that I have always had with Uber, and just a lot of other drivers as well, is the fact that people can remove their tip. Especially in the last few years, people have posted on social media talking about how to get your order faster, which is the tip higher, and with Uber you can actually remove the tip after you deliver. And this is a problem a lot of people are having. I know for me, I've had several people remove their tip for absolutely no reason, and although on other apps like Instacart you can remove your tip, it seems to be a lot more common with Uber Eats, and a lot of people just don't like that. Overall, the platform, a lot of people just aren't really a fan of. It's not that the app is confusing, it's kind of just how the app works, how Uber works. A lot of the time you'll see orders that, were canceled, and then you're getting them and showing up to the restaurant and they're not there. Like I said, the tip removing, the low order pay. The platform overall, a lot of people are just tired of, and they just don't really like it. Now, another reason I think a lot of people are quitting is, like I said, every market is different, and I find that Uber Eats is just not as popular in as many markets as DoorDash. So there are some markets that are just completely without Uber Eats orders. I know for me, where I am, Uber Eats isn't very popular. Of course there's orders, but they don't pay well, and then I've gone to other places where there are literally no offers at all. And of course I see a lot of people online also making all of their money on Uber Eats, so because the drastic market difference, I feel like a lot of people may try out Uber and then realize that there really isn't many orders, and then they may quit, or that there just isn't enough order volume to keep up with how much they want to make. And also, of course, over the last few years we've seen a decline in orders on gig apps, so even if Uber Eats for some people was good, a year or two ago, there's probably been a decline in orders, and so now there just isn't enough orders. So if there's not enough orders, people aren't getting enough money, and so a lot of the time they just end up quitting. Now, another reason I think people are quitting is because there are a ton of other gig platforms out there now. It's a lot of other ways to make money, and so I think when people start seeing on social media, or they just start trying out different apps, they see that it pays better and that Uber just isn't paying enough, and so they switch to those platforms instead. I find that a lot of people will start with one app, like let's just say Uber for this video. They'll start with Uber, and then they'll start applying to other gig apps, and then they see they pay more, and then they just are like, why am I even doing Uber still? And that's kind of what happened for me, because although I signed up for Uber and I thought it was going to pay really well, after I started doing Instacart, DoorDash, and Shipt, I sometimes don't even turn Uber on because it just doesn't pay enough. And can we talk about how annoying the Uber app noise is when an order is coming through? That thing just does not stop going off. It is my least favorite noise, and I swear when I am done doing Uber Eats, I am still hearing the noise at random. I feel like I'm not the only one, and because all the orders are usually really low paying, it is just not worth me hearing that noise over and over and over again. So again, with the platform, it kind of goes back to that, but also it's just other apps are easier. Another common problem I'm seeing with other gig apps, but specifically with Uber Eats as well, is that there just isn't enough peak pay or bonuses. There used to be like really good surge pay, and I'm just not even seeing any of that anymore. I did recently see someone say that you had to actually be an Uber driver and then you would see surge pay, but I'm not really sure about that. I haven't tried it. I just know that all of the promotions that they used to do, especially like, oh, complete this many orders, this much money extra, they're still doing some of those, but they're not nearly the same, and there's just not enough of them. So at least if the orders weren't paying well, Uber was kind of making up for that, but it doesn't really seem that to be the case anymore. And overall, Uber Eats doesn't really offer too many benefits. I know there's like a small gas bonus that you get when you sign up for an app, and there are a few bonuses when you work up the tiers in Uber, but comparatively even to DoorDash or Instacart, you're not really getting many benefits from it, and so people just aren't as inclined to do all these orders if they're not going to get any benefits. And of course, there's also the fact of oversaturation. A lot of people over the last few years, you know, have found out about Uber Eats and they're like, oh, this is a great side hustle. And so everyone starts signing up for it, especially because a lot of these apps, you know, they'll have a little referral thing. When you refer someone, you get money and they get money. I'm not even sure if Uber does that anymore, but eventually everyone knows about Uber Eats and is trying it. And so because of the oversaturation, there's just so many drivers that each driver is not getting enough orders anymore. You may be waiting for an order and there's 5 or 10 other Uber drivers literally right around you in the same spot. There's just too many. Uber Eats doesn't really do a great job filtering out how many people they allow per zone. And of course you can go anywhere with Uber Eats, which does make it a little bit more difficult, but there definitely is just a lot of Uber Eats drivers. And of course that results in less money. And lastly, of course, as we all know, the effects that these jobs have on your car, it just may not be worth it for a lot of people because it does take a toll on your car. All the miles, the oil changes, the tires, the gas, just everything factored in. It is a lot on your car. And I especially noticed with Uber Eats, they offer a lot of high mile orders. I'm not even seeing that many miles on like DoorDash orders or Instacart. Uber Eats seems to allow customers to order from pretty much anywhere, and I will see so many like 30-mile orders. It's just a lot. So I feel like with the effects on your car, a lot of people are just like, yeah, this is not worth it. And you know, even again, as I've talked in other videos, effects that it has on your mental and physical health as well. This kind of applies to all gig apps, but with Uber Eats, you know, with the tip removal thing, that's just be really annoying. And with the orders constantly being canceled and you show up and it's not even there, it is a very frustrating platform, it seems to be. So I think a lot of people just, they don't want to do it anymore. But let me know in the comments if you guys have thought about quitting Uber Eats, if you even do it anymore. I wouldn't say that I've quit, but I'd say that I basically don't do it anymore. I turn it on for, you know, 20 minutes a day maybe and try to see if I can get a good order. But other than that, I just don't bother. So yeah, comment down below if you guys are thinking about quitting, if you have quit, why you quit. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.